Let's get to know the artist behind the epic melodies, songs, and beats. Celebrating the best new music from around the world. This is the A State of Trance podcast.
What's up? My name is Ruben Ronne, back with you once again with A State of Trance podcast. And this week I have a very special guest all the way from Ukraine here in the studio, Mr. LÜRUM. How are you doing?
Thanks, I'm fine.
Or I should say André, right?
Yes.
Yes, because a lot of people don't know this, but André has been making music before as Dark Rain and also part of Dark Rain and Euro Moonlight. And then followed up by that with Dream, because Dark Rain and Euro Moonlight was too long, so you made Dream out of it, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you fell in love with dance music.
I started listening to A State of Trance maybe in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I was highly impressed with the variety of trance music. If you remember, maybe some Armin sets started from 1 to 6, 1 to 8 BPM, some progressive stuff, then following by 135 progressive trance, then 140 hard trance or something like. And I was really impressed being a schoolboy. What is this? What is the kind of music is this? And it's stuck in my mind for whole my next life.
And how did you find out about the radio show? Were you just listening to a random radio station and it just came by, or
just maybe on some forums? You know, the time forums were very popular, and people were sitting there and talking there. So yeah, I found on some forums where it was some radio shows from the best artists. So I started listening to A State of Trance.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you started your journey with A State of Trance. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then the moment came from going from a listener to becoming a DJ first or producer first. How did the journey start with you?
Maybe I started producing, but also started DJing at the same time. And I remember that time, you know, CDJs 100.
Yeah. With the top loader with the CDs, and then you needed to do
and small jokes and started from this stuff. Then CDJs 400, 800, that was amazing stuff, and 1000 that was some
solid step
from
forward.
The space.
Yeah, I'll get to you about space in just a little bit, but first I want to know. So you started your DJing and making music. Do you still remember the first time that you were like, okay, I'm going to play a gig right now? Or what was your first show that you ever played? And how did you get so far? Because getting booked is really hard, of course.
It was after party, after some big event. You know, the time in Ukraine we had so many events.
Yes, big raves, massive raves. Yeah,
it was something like capital of clubbing in Europe, in Eastern Europe. And you know, a few times a month we had a big festival for 10,000 or 15,000 people. And after that festival we had some after parties, so I just was invited to play my first set on that after party for a few people.
So it was already after a rave, and then you came in, everybody was tired already, and you just had to keep
Yes.
And making music, that also started back then in 2007 maybe, and then you started making music at the same time. How long did it take you to get to a certain point that you started to release music?
It took about 6 months maybe.
That's that fast? Wow.
But it was such small releases that I don't want to mention or remember some demo stuff, but I remember I bought a book, FL Studio.
Yeah.
It was a heavy book, like 500. And yes, I wrote that book, you know, like 10 times or 20 times, and then started producing. And it was much easier because I had already some knowledge from that book, and I started from FL Studio.
So if I get it right, you read the book before you started making music.
Yes, I started from the book.
Holy! That's the first time I ever heard that. So you went into Fruity Loops, into making music, and you already knew the program from the book, basically, or the basics at least. Well,
Yes.
I didn't hear about that before. That's awesome. So you took that knowledge into making music, and then you started an alias straight away, or was it always from the start Dart Rain?
No, I had some aliases.
Like what?
Maybe some Akari. I had some. Just I tried to make some techno stuff from the start, and then Dart Rain, and then Dream. And
Can you do you was your team up with Euro Moonlight? Was that something that grew, or was it something that you were friends and you started making music together? Because I remember, of course, when you released Silhouette, suddenly was like Dart Rain and Euro Moonlight, they're here.
it was a long time ago. We know each other maybe 15 years.
Okay.
And started from friendship, also from forums.
So you met each other on forums? Which
Yes.
forum was it?
Maybe some, I can't remember, some Ukrainian forums where people were talking about after parties, after raves.
Talking about after parties.
Yes.
And that's where you met each other.
Yes.
And then you started making music straight away, or was it a friendship that started out first and then you started making music?
Friendship first, and then after a few years we started from some collaborations, and in 2013 or 14 we started as Dream.
Yeah, I still remember, because that was also a moment that was like, who is Dream? Like, why are these artists suddenly out of nowhere making such great music? And then I figured it out. Dart Rain, Euro Moonlight. Okay, Dream. There you go. And of course, you did the remix for me for Dreams Come True. That was for me. It was a track that I still play in my set sometimes because it was so fresh. And I remember Armin putting it on the A State of Trance compilation.
Yeah.
That was big. And we did, of course, some work together also with Dream. Sabado.
I remember collaboration. Yes.
And then, so switching back to the moment you started with Fruity Loops, and now you switched to Ableton, I think.
Ableton, of course, because I can't deal with Fruity Loops. It's I'm sorry, guys, but it's too much.
Did you do the same for Ableton as what you did for Fruity Loops? You first read some books about it, and then you started making music in it?
No, it was quite easy to switch to Ableton because it's so intuitive and so minimalistic. And you can switch in a few months. Like you always have been working in Ableton Live.
Yeah, I love it too. It's just so fast. You can choose whatever you want to do. You're here for a reason, because last year I had one of those moments once again. I think it was one of the A&Rs here at Armada sent me a track. I think it was Eccentricity. Was one of the first ones, or was it Explorer? One of those?
Explorer, maybe.
Explorer, yeah. And I was like, holy shit, what is this? And then I didn't know who was behind it. I played it in a couple of sets. And then I went to Untold Festival last year in Romania, in Cluj. Amazing festival. And we started talking because I only knew you as Dream. And then it was like, hey, hush, I don't tell anyone, but I'm behind LÜRUM. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And that was blowing my mind. So tell us about, why did you start a side project called LÜRUM?
Yeah, you was the first one whom I told about.
You were like, this is a big secret.
I just wanted to share and to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yes. About LÜRUM, last year was very hard for many Ukrainians and for me also. And at some point of my life, I realized that if everything will be okay with me, I will do something more in this life. I should start something new. I should produce more. I should travel more. I should explore this world and share my music to people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started LÜRUM. Also, I was inspired by deeper stuff, deeper music. I've been always listening in my car or on the background at my home. So it was just a question of time for me to start a project and produce some deep melodic music, which I like at this moment. And also, I know that melodic techno stuff is highly inspired by trance of 2000s.
Very true.
Maybe that's why it touches me so much, and I'm trying to bring it, to mix it with trance, and to bring to listeners, to A State of Trance listeners. And it's not because it's popular at the moment, and people, many producers just try to switch from uplifted trance to melodic techno, and I'm making it because it's maybe I'm growing, and being adult, my taste is changing. So I'm trying to bring something new.
So what you're trying to do, if I get this right, that you're trying to capture the feeling that you had back in 2007
Yes,
when you
exactly.
started your journey into music, trying to capture it and take it to these times.
Yes, you understood what I mean. It's like I'm closing my eyes, and I can feel the time which will always be with me for the rest of my life. So yes,
And you started this project because you want to seize the moment a little bit more and get everything out of life that's possible.
maybe I wanted to escape from disasters of which I saw during this year.
Yeah.
Maybe this is my protection, and
So you're using music as a shield and an outlet of your emotions of what happened in Ukraine, what happens in Ukraine.
yes, I have ability to transform some negative energy in my life into something good. Sometimes bad moments and negative energy gives me some inspiration, which I transform into music or some art.
Yeah, you know what they say, diamonds are created under pressure, right? So that's what it is, I guess. So I think, is it also the reason why you told no one that you were behind LÜRUM for the first couple of releases? So to kind of prove like, hey guys, this is something new. This is not necessarily related to what I did before.
I started just for myself, for my soul. You know, I didn't expect that everything will go like it goes. I just started producing some progressive house music, making some experiments just for myself. I made my label and made self-releases with LÜRUM, and that's all. And I remember the situation. It was 1 year ago. I made my first track was Apollo in this style, and I sent it to Armin, and he was ill with COVID. I think that time, and I think he was sitting in front of computer and having some time to check demos maybe. And I sent him, and he replied, "Yes, that's fine. Let's make it on our mind," and that's how it started.
That's crazy. So you sent him over a demo and he replied almost straight away like, hey, let's do this.
In 1 minute.
But still, you kept it a secret that you were behind it for until, almost half a year or even more.
That was my experiment.
So you first were like, okay, let's show the world what LÜRUM is. And then maybe we can show, because until this moment, a lot of people still don't know that you're behind LÜRUM.
That was my message, like music first.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your production process? Because what I noticed, like, there's a lot of melodic techno right now, but you are taking it to next level melody-wise, right? So what's the aim that you have when you go into the music and create a LÜRUM track?
My production process is quite long, and I choose quality over quantity. So I produce from 1 month to up to 5 months one track.
Really? That's slow.
Every day without days off, almost every day for maybe 10 hours a day, I produce one track because I want to try all options I can provide. And sometimes I'm starting from one melody, then changing to another melody, then having the third melody, and then coming back to the first melody.
Back to the first one, because the first idea is always the best one.
And sending this to Armada team, and and they're so tired, tell me, why are you sending us so many variants? Please send one, and everything sounds good. We can't figure any changes. Please send. But I'm trying to make the best I can, and sometimes it takes 1 month, and I have this feeling, inner feeling, I'm finished, it's okay, and I start new project. And sometimes it takes 5 months, but when you have calmness inside that you have done everything you could, so it's okay, and you can start something new.
That's awesome. And I know there's a lot of details in your productions. There's so much little automations, and you have to be like a producer or almost a nerd to find out, like, hey, how did he do that? Yeah. I was like, when I listen to your tracks, I'm like, wait, how did he do that? Oh, that's a cool little LFO trick right there.
I'm hiding some little secrets and paying attention to each detail, because I'm seeing my tracks like a little journey from start to finish, and I don't like to make it like loops from repeating 8 bars, and so on. Each part of my track should develop and to tell a story from the start to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it can start from one melody and end with another melody, but it sounds like one.
It's like a little, I call it almost a painting. It's like so much little details going on, all those little sounds going on. Well, keep it going, please. Now, the next thing, the single that you just released with that girl, Fall or Fly.
Yes.
There is something about it that we just found out on radio as well. I'm looking at your wife right now. Can you join us on the microphone? Just take this one. Yeah. Because that works perfectly. There you go. Because there's something special about that track, about the collaboration with that girl. Because, well, tell us about it.
Well, I am the first people who listening to his new demos, and I'm always checking his experiments, and I noticed that he making instrumental tracks more. So I thought I could help you some with my lyrics, because it was very personal when you hearing the music and you feel it. You know exact what you want to say.
Yeah.
You had goosebumps, when you hear it and you know it. So I wrote the lyrics. I show him, but I should to record it by my phone, like a demo version to him. So it was a really collaboration between us.
Was that like a surprise to you that she started doing that, or?
Yes, a little surprised, but she made a good results from the start.
Yeah.
So I was surprised, and like having such a talent, and just near myself, and for 10 years, more than 10 years.
And this is the first time you ever did that?
Yes.
So you've been listening to his music for almost a decade. You just hear his loops the whole day through. You're like,
yes.
oh. Andre, please stop. Okay, and then you're like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm onto something.
I can help him to make it more special, I think, because I wrote some poems time to time, and I have some personal moments in our life, and exact in this summer when we move to another city, we should make a new life with a new home, with new works. So it was really like the edge, as it said in the song.
Yeah,
it was.
It was Fall or Fly.
Yes, we could fall or fly. It's no way.
Yeah,
no way back.
That's amazing. That's very deep as well.
Yes.
And I think that's like the perfect collaboration. That's something that I didn't know. Yeah. And of course, you wrote it. You wrote the melodies. You wrote the poem or the lyrics, I would say. And then you sent it to Tanya.
Yes.
How did you decide that Tanya was the perfect voice to sing this song?
We heard some of her vocal projects, and I like her vocals because it's so unique and deep, and we realized that this is exact what we want for this track.
Yeah.
And
Big shout out to that girl, of course, in South Africa, because you should do more tracks like this, Tanya, like the progressive kind of things. And if you can write some more lyrics, is that something that you aim to do in the near future as well? Like, write lyrics not only for Andre but also for other artists?
Well, I'm open to some invites, so I have really much more poems in my phone. So
awesome.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I
If
can-
you're listening right now and you're looking for a vocalist and a singer-songwriter, there she is. You know where to find her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing this. I have a couple of questions for you from some of our listeners. So I hope you're ready for those. Christine Carol B wants to know, any collabs in the future coming up besides working with your wife?
yes, I'm planning to make some vocal collabs with some new vocalists like Linnea Shosov and Luke Colson, and maybe some more. And yes, I'm concentrated on some vocal stuff at this moment because I think when I've been preparing for my set, I realized that I'm missing some vocal stuff. So I'm concentrated on some vocal productions now.
So talking about set, you played at A State of Trance. It's 3 weeks ago right now. How did that go for you? Because it was the first time that you ever played at LÜRUM as a DJ set.
Yes, that was amazing, and I've been preparing for 2 months for this set because it's my debut set, and I had to make some, program for my sets, for future sets.
Yeah,
and I'm always making some edits, mashups, and during this set, I wanted to present myself and my development as an artist. So I tried to mix my tracks with some classic tracks that inspired me through these years. So I made many mashups, edits, and during this preparation, it was really hard for me because I was measured in time, but I made some exclusives and made some remix, and I'm happy with the result.
awesome. Well, I'm pretty sure that by now that this podcast is online, your set will be on our channel as well. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out the set of LÜRUM from A State of Trance in Utrecht, including the Never Say Never remix.
This is just my edit or bootleg, and I don't know how it goes. At this moment, this is
Just for yourself and for your sets.
just exclusive for my sets, and
And for everybody that listens to State of Trance, because you played it in your guest mix, of course.
yes.
So thanks for doing that. Jeremy Music wants to know, how did you come up with your unique sound?
I've been working very much to improve my sound. I'm always studying. I'm always watching educational videos, and this helps a lot to bring a new sounds. And so yeah, it's sometimes it's better to start from nothing to make your own presets and to make your own sounds.
Yeah.
And also my experience, some experience helps me a lot while developing the sound quality and mixing, mastering, and this combination helps me a lot. But the main thing is I'm working, as I said, every day for 10-12 hours. Until I get the results that satisfies me. That's all.
Which is probably really hard. Because if you're so perfectionistic, then it takes a long time before you get there, I guess.
If you like something, if you have passion, you don't get tired. You just maybe
That is true.
physically. I got tired physically and sometimes. But in your mind, you don't need days off or some vacations and something like that.
But sometimes you have to do that.
Maybe sometimes.
Just looking at your wife, she agrees. Sometimes you need some vacation also. So you watch a lot of tutorials on YouTube to create certain sounds as well. What is your go-to channel, or which artist or which YouTube maker do you enjoy the most?
I just just open my Instagram and watching recommendations and some young guys and some maybe young producers upcoming show how to make some
Like a certain lead or a bass line, or
yes, I think they can't finalize it as they lack of experience, but they can give you some inspiration and idea, and you watch it, and you can make something your own and use your experience and to make it sound proper. Because sometimes people make tutorials and they make such too fat sounds, and you cannot put into mix like it should be.
That's very true. And what I also find it's very interesting. There's a lot of guys that make brilliant tutorials, but they never release anything. I guess that's the other sides of things.
Maybe it's hobby. They like to
just create sounds and stuff.
Create sounds, and that's like a hobby.
And talking about sounds, your main lead sounds, which plugin do you use the most?
LÜRUM, Spire.
LÜRUM is more for the sound designing, and Spire for the layering, I guess, or
sometimes
depends a little bit.
Yes, sometimes for sound designing also, but mostly I use LÜRUM. I like it, and it has everything on board you need.
Yeah, and do you create everything yourself, all the sounds, or you like also used to use presets sometimes as a start off, or?
No, I create everything. My main sound also mostly I create myself.
That's why it sounds so unique, I guess.
Because you can't find something really unique in preset packs. Maybe you can find some bass lines, some rolling bass lines, or some arpeggio to make it to fasten the process. Yes, but if you need to make some leads like eccentricity lead, you can't find such sounds in preset packs. You need to spend 1-2 months to make 15-second lead.
It's crazy. It's true though.
Yes.
It takes a long time. A man from a Blue School Social asks, what was an emotional moment and which tune did you create because of this moment?
Emotional moment in...
like say, in preparation for A State of Trance in Utrecht, you had like a moment that you were like, okay, I'm going to play State of Trance Utrecht and I'm going to create something totally new for this, or any occasion.
I've been making some preparations, mashups, and I wanted to mash up Armin Never Say Never with some stuff, was searching C minor stuff to make some edit, but I realized why can't I do myself? Why can't I do my own edit? So I decided to close at my studio again and spend 3 weeks or maybe 1 month, but it was a record for me because I was measured in time, and I made a bootleg for Armin, which is I'm happy with, and I played on A State of Trance, and I saw how people were happy and dancing, and that was amazing.
That was one of the moments in your set you were like, okay, I'm going the right way. People are enjoying this.
Yeah, and maybe when I played some mashups with classics, I also saw some experienced trance listeners, I saw their reaction, and I realized that I'm doing right.
So you're taking your knowledge from all the history and you're taking it into the new sound. I love that. Sophie Chicat wants to know, who's your biggest inspiration?
My wife.
Ah,
she always listening to my tracks, and sometimes she's getting me out from studio saying, "Stop doing this, please."
Stop doing this, please.
You made the track. Go outside. Go to the street, please. And yes, she helps me a lot because she can be like a listener, and she comes to my studio and listening to my tracks and saying, "This is in this moment there's too much things going on, so I'm taking off some parts." And as a result, it's tracks become better because
she's always right.
Sometimes I'm overproducing, and I need someone to stop me.
Very, very well done. Very well done. Well, thank you so much for answering all these questions and sharing your story on the podcast. LÜRUM, one last thing that you want to share with the rest of the world?
I want to say thanks to all people who listen to my music, who support me, and you inspire me to work, to create something new, and it's amazing. I'm happy and with what I'm having now. So
Awesome.
big thanks to you guys.
Thank you once again for coming by in your guest mix, and make sure to check LÜRUM. His set is probably going to be on our YouTube right now, so youtube.com/A State of Trance. Next week we're going to be back with a new podcast, and our special guest will be Cold Blue. If you have any questions, write them down here in the comment section, and otherwise I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Check all previous episodes on YouTube or your favorite podcast portal.